We all remember the good old days when we used to play after school and sometimes skip classes and use the excuse of being sick, which, of course, I didn't. Those days when we simply played games for fun with our friends, be they real or imaginary, nor that I have those. Those days are long gone. Now we have microtransactions, live service games, and loot crates. The golden age is long gone. This age of gaming was around the 2000s. In my opinion, one of the best decades for gaming, especially the year 2007. Many great games were released this year. Many of you probably know Halo 3, BioShock, Portal, Crysis, Mass Effect, Assassin's Creed, and last but not least, Team Fortress 2, the successor to Team Fortress Classic from 1999. The year is 2006, and the first trailer released at the EA Summer Showcase, the reception was overwhelmingly positive. The following year, on October 27th, the game went gold. This means that the game was ready to be sold. Players from all over the world gathered to play this masterpiece. The gameplay was simple, two teams fighting each other, the red team and the blue team. You could choose between 9 classes, each with its weaknesses and strengths, and each mercenary had a backstory. The game released with 3 modes: Capture the Flag, King of the Hill, and Capture the Point. At the beginning, the game could sustain 8 vs 8 on consoles and 12 vs 12. Later updated to 32 players. Now the question that remains is, how did this game not only succeed in 2007, but thrive now after 17 years of enjoying a solid player base? Well, the first factor is the simplicity of the game. This doesn't mean the game is easy or dull. The mechanics are easy to learn but hard to master. The game doesn't bring thousands of mechanics like the present game's grappling hooks, eating 10 kilograms of food without having diarrhea, walking on walls, jumping 11 feet in the sky, or building. I'm looking at you, Fortnite. The lack of all these mechanics doesn't mean the game is not fun. On the contrary, this makes the player rely solely on skill, not having a second chance to use an ultimate that nukes the entire team from the face of the map, just because they were all in one place. This indirectly promotes the skill of the player, but not punishing the beginner too much like Fortnite, where the veterans can build an entire hotel of 18 floors in just 10 seconds. In TF2, when you succeed a backstab and also survive, it's the reward for the patient when an opportunity arises to get a kill, and also make an escape route. And so the other player is punished for not checking for a spy near his proximity. In the next encounter, the player that got backstabbed will have a higher chance to detect and kill the enemy spy because of the previous encounter. In comparison with Fortnite, where you know that the enemy can create the entire White House in just 10 seconds. The beginner can do nothing to match that mechanic, in a match or in the next ones. This often leads to a fraction of the player base, the pros and the so-called newbies. Are you tired of playing the same game again and again and again with the same mechanics? It feels boring? Well, TF2 offers classes, and they are a big part of why TF2 is successful, even now after so many years. They are like a coin, having 2 sides. The first side is the counter of a class, because each mercenary is so distinct from each other and offers advantages and disadvantages against other classes. One class may have an advantage over the other, such as Sniper versus Heavy. Sniper can take this class with 2 headshots from long range, especially using Heavy's slow speed against him. And the Heavy minigun barely hits the Sniper at long range, but Heavy dominates in short and medium range against other classes like Pyro, that is built for close quarters combat. In return, Pyro is excellent against spies, killing them in merely seconds. But Pyro in open space doesn't stand a chance against the Scout, who can outrun the Flamethrower because of his high speed. This forces the player to switch classes mid-match and try to experiment with each mercenary. This means the player's tactics always change alongside the rival team. Now, about the other side of the coin is how these classes can complement each other tremendously. A good example of fusion, and the most known in the community, is the Heavy and Medic, also known as Medic Pocket or the Engineer and Pyro. The first class has the powerful sentries that can kill an enemy in just mere seconds, but it's very vulnerable against spies that can sabotage his buildings in the blink of an eye. But Pyro can stop this process very quickly by checking his surroundings with his Flamethrower for spies. Now let's dive even deeper into these classes. Each class has altered in time with the help of many updates that offered a new arsenal that changed the way to play a class. Let's again take a look at the Engineer and Pyro for example. What happens if the NG is dead and the sentries are being sabotaged with the Sapper? Well, now this character has the opportunity to save the sentry by using the Homewrecker to remove the Sapper. This weapon encourages the player to have a different playstyle, more defensively, protecting the Engineer nests. This variety of each classes makes the player try and play with them, because of the combinations that they can make. And also the arsenal of each mercenary can alter the class. Another good example is the Engineer. The base class is to hold and defend a point, but with the future patches offered a new arsenal to this class. Has allowed him to be more mobile and aggressive, building mini sentries and having the possibility to control them and even having the opportunity to repair them at long range changed this class. And so this allowed the NG to be more mobile around the map, not being stuck to his nest and bashing his sentry after every encounter to repair it. With the Rescue Ranger, the player could repair it from a long distance, and also deal some extra damage to enemies alongside the sentry. Or Demo Man's subclass, Demo Knight, which promotes this class to play from long-range explosives to melee combat. And many other interesting and funny builds. This makes the player always try new weapons and classes. This experimentation is one core of this game. And the developers not only made this a possibility, but also made this process entertaining. What makes something or someone memorable? The aesthetic, the name, the big boobs, or maybe the qualities it has? Wrong! It's the unique lore for each character. Let's look at the mercenaries from TF2. A few examples are the Sniper, who was born in the underwater country of New Zealand, or Spy, who is the father of one of the mercenaries. All this lore is developed over the years though. Meet the Team, videos, and the comic books. This backstory makes the player link with the mercenaries, either having a sad story or mostly a funny one. There's also lore and context for the entire world. This leads to great world building. The maps, the objectives have a connection to the story. Comic books dive deeper into each character's backstory about their lives, their emotions, how they interact with each other. The developers did a fantastic job to make the characters likable and the story interesting. Seeing how each mercenary gets through an event, mostly in a funny manner but also having some serious moments. From these comic books we learn about how Demo Man lost his eye, that Marasmus is the roommate of Soldier, and so on. All of this makes the characters more unique. They're not simple mercenaries or some blank heroes, like in the predecessor of TF2. Team Fortress Classic had the base concept of TF2, but lacked the narrative history for each character and lore of the worlds. This concept is vital to the success of a game, and this is also seen in Overwatch, which has or had a great story and backstory for each character that made them memorable, and essentially made the player more attached to the characters. And that's why Overwatch 2 was such a disappointment, because it didn't deliver what the fanbase expected most: the opportunity to play more PvE related to the game's lore. Now, what's the core for everything? In all industries, the people. They're the key for everything. If there's 0 people invested in something, then the result is a mediocre one. The people keep the games alive, not the AI or something else. This leads to the last and maybe one of the most important points is the community itself. The fan base kept the game alive even now to the present. This is well known with Skyrim releasing 500 times over the years, because the community keeps this game floating with the mods. Mods every year, every month, and every day. This allows you to change the game into anything you want. And so in 2014, Valve offered the community an important tool for the life of the game, and that's right, you guessed it! The Steam Workshop is a key instrument that allows the players to try new things and allows the creators to achieve something via recognition or their creations being used in future updates. And of course, another important tool available to players is the community servers. This also offers the players a way to show their dedication to this game and also to create an image of the game that they desire and try something different, like new imaginative game modes, new maps, and even new mechanics. All of these factors combined made this game a hit back in the days. and even now it keeps going against time. Old mechanics and texture, one developer, and the last major update being in 2017, Jungle Inferno. And the last decision that helped the games was to make TF2 free-to-play in 2011. So this was the story of the game that doesn't wish to die against all odds. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more gaming-related stuff. That's if you watched the video this far.